Hello, everyone. My name is Emmy, and I'm going to be talking about the chapter Nice to Eat with You Acts of Communion. And in this chapter, Foster is showing us that acts of communion can enhance literary works by amplifying character relationships and conflicts. They're showing us rather than telling us. So, Foster asks, and you might ask yourself, what kind of communions and what kind of results can we achieve? And really, with this, the possibilities are endless. So, first, I want to lay some groundwork and talk about the two references that you'll see me make. First, the 1985 Breakfast Club and the 1989 National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So, first, the Breakfast Club is about five teenagers who have been given Saturday detention, and it follows them in how their relationships progress and how their classic high school archetypes can join and conform to each other in the confines of this Saturday detention. In the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, we are following Clark Griswold, Chevy Chase, through his Christmas vacation and all its ups and downs. I hope that with this background, you will be able to understand and connect with these examples that I'll be providing some more. So first, Foster makes this generalization that whenever people eat or drink together, it's communion. And at first, you're probably like, is this true? I thought only communion was religious. But in reality, religion has no stakehold on this idea or concept of communion. It is merely just a social ritual involving the coming together of anyone to share sustenance. It's that simple. He then goes on to explain that not all communions are holy, and most in literary versions are far from it. So I want to prove this to you by sharing this example from the Breakfast Club. Detention has broken for lunch, and you might ask, is this communion? And the answer is yes. This awkward lunch in the library is a communion. It is the sharing of sustenance between a group of people. They are sharing a meal, even if it is boring. And this meal is so mundane that an author wouldn't show us this mundane aspect of life that we all participate in unless they're showing us something. And this really brings us into our next claim made by Foster, that communion doesn't have to be religious. He goes on to explain that sometimes communion can reveal a sexual nature. But I want to focus on this idea of bonding. The sharing of sustenance can be intimate and bring people closer. So once again, this mundane lunch can reveal things about character relationships. For instance, we see Claire open her lunch, and she is our resident good girl. So obviously her lunch is a fancy sushi box. And then we see our varsity athlete, Andrew Clark, open his meal. And it definitely coincides with his lifestyle. So he has 3 sandwiches, a quart of milk, a bag of chocolate chip cookies, a family-sized bag of potato chips, an apple, and a banana. Then we see Brian Johnson, and his mom has packed his lunch of soup, apple juice, and a PB&J. And Bender, our bad boy of the movie, doesn't have a lunch. His mom has not packed him a lunch. And Bender watching them all open their lunches is them bonding. It's them getting to know each other. And it really brings us to this end result of them realizing that they can understand each other for who they are, and that they're all different in their own way, and that this is okay. So we've seen that communion does not have to be holy, and sometimes it's far from it, and it can have different motives. And now I want to talk about how these meals are an act of sharing and peace. So as I previously mentioned, breaking bread is kind of an intimate thing. You're not really going to break bread with someone that you don't like. In the book, they literally say, if you're breaking bread, you're not breaking heads. And it's a way of saying, I'm with you, I like you, we form a community together. We are now moving on to our National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation reference. And then this iconic Christmas dinner scene, we see the family members meeting, and they're finally all here. And this is what they've been waiting for. And so this family, dysfunctional as they are eating together, and it really shows that when all is said and done and the day is over, they love each other, and they are willing to share this meal in peace and community to celebrate the Christmas season. And this conveniently leads us into our next scene of this movie, which is a meal gone wrong is unsettling for readers. And this is the claim that Foster makes. When such a mundane thing such as a meal goes south, this sends up flares in our mind that this is a problem, it's a bad sign. And so in our National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation reference, this is your typical Christmas dinner. Everyone is gathered around the table and ready to eat the turkey and communion together. But Clark carves it open and it is dried out. Catherine says, I told you we put it in too early. So this is just the first hint that things are going to be less than pleasant in this meal. And then we see Ellen and Clark have to get up from the table during this meal and go clean up trash that the dog Eddie Brat's knots has torn across the kitchen. And this is another hint that meal is just turning sour the longer and longer it goes. And then Lewis lights his cigar in the family room and lights the tree and all of its presents on fire. And as this movie begins to progress, there's never really a formal ending to such a formal dinner. So this should be our final hint that this plot is going south. Things are not going well. They're going on a downward spiral. And we as an audience might be concerned. Will Clark Griswold be able to save the Griswold family Christmas? So, as you can see through all of these examples, acts of communions are everywhere, from the Breakfast Club lunch scene to the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation dinner scene. And without fail, it's bound to be deeper than the dinner. So just pull up your chair. I hope you learned something.